No, 7. It's the last of the 7s. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. She looked at me dubiously like I was making it up.
Okay, so I'm going to be explaining to you guys why legalizing prostitution in brothels will not work and the disadvantages of it. First of all, the legalization of registered brothels it increases illegal prostitution. First of all, legalization does not prevent street prostitution. According to the article 10 Reasons for Not Legalizing Prostitution, many women don't want to register and undergo health checks as required by law in certain countries legalizing prostitution. So legalization often drives them into street prostitution. In Netherlands, women in prostitution point out that legalization or decriminalization of the sex industry cannot erase the stigma of prostitution, but instead makes women more vulnerable to abuse because they must register and lose anonymity. Legalization also increases illegal prostitution. In the same article, it says, since the onset of legalization in Victoria, Australia, brothels have tripled in number and expanded in size, the vast majority having no licenses, but advertising and operating with impunity. In New South Wales, brothels were decriminalized in 1995, and in 1999, the number of brothels in Sydney had increased exponentially to 400 to 500, with the vast majority having no licenses. According to an article on an Australian newspaper website, in 2010 and 2011, three legal brothels were closed because of illegal prostitution. So even though prostitution may be legal, the illegal sector still is undercutting them. And according to a book titled Prostitution Policy, Revolutionizing Practice Through a Gendered Perspective, women are really unwilling to register as prostitutes even when it may be legal in a brothel. In Peru, Singapore, Uruguay, and Germany, even though it's legal to prostitute in a brothel, fewer than 50% of working prostitutes are registered. In Indonesia, the number is closer to 30%, and in Greece and even Nevada, it's closer to 10% that are registered. Prostitutes really don't want to be bureaucratically stigmatized like that. And then also, even if prostitutes are registered and legal in brothels, if they get infected with STDs, they have nowhere to go and they can just go work on the street illegally. The advocate also stated that they'd be able to regulate the wearing of condoms and regulate STD checking, but regulating condom usage in brothels is impractical, and men expect condomless sex or are willing to pay more for it. First of all, men really they want condoms. In a study by the Coalition Against in an article titled "The 10 Reasons for Not Legalizing Prostitution," it said U.S. women in prostitution interviewed reported the following: 47% stated that men expected sex without a condom, 73% reported that men offered to pay more for sex without a condom, and 45% said they were abused if they insisted that men use the condom. Some establishments have rules that men wear condoms, but men still try to have sex without them. And prostitutes are willing to have sex without condoms for more money. I mean, they're not